To this day. To this day.
Drake? The nigga that got bodied by Pusha T?
I hit him clean more times. I beat him.
I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What up, Bushido Spirit? Back with another video off the top, talking about Jussie Smollett. So he's finally been taken into custody by the Chicago PD. They're gonna ask him a bunch of questions, like why he decided to hire two big ass Nigerian dudes that bought all the shit at one store. Them niggas went to a gas station and bulked up. Like, I don't it's just all this shit is hilarious, man. I'm gonna play this video here. And if you watch the video, you look like the cop look happy as fuck that they solved the case. That nigga looks super happy. Like this is the biggest case in his life.
Now reporting, George Stephanopoulos.
A nigga lying
Chicago Police
to get
about
more
the
money.
Conference on Jussie Smollett. I want to show you the room right now with the police superintendent Eddie Johnson about to speak.
Nigga got a slave named Eddie Johnson.
Good morning, everyone.
They solved this case faster than a motherfucker. Now that I think about it, it's been like a month. They done solved this shit quick than a motherfucker. Like they don't solve no crimes quicker than they solve this shit. Niggas is dying every day and crimes are unsolved, but this fake ass crime gets solved in about 2 days. These niggas.
Before I get started on why we're here, as I look out into the crowd, I just wish that the families of gun violence in this city got this much attention.
Yeah, I wish that too, nigga. I wish that too. Why your ass doing this fucking press conference for a fake ass hate crime?
Because that's who really deserves the amount of attention that we're giving to this particular incident. So this morning, I come to you not only as the superintendent of the Chicago Police Department, but also as a black man who spent his entire life living in the city of Chicago.
And why it's always a black superintendent or somebody that's black in charge of the police force. Like, and the police force be racist than a motherfucker, but there's always a nigga at the top. That shit sounds suspicious, even more suspicious than the Jussie Smollett case.
I know the racial divide that exists here. I know how hard it's been for our city and our nation to come together. And I also know the disparities, and I know the history. This announcement today recognizes that Empire actor Jussie Smollett took advantage of the pain and anger of racism.
Look at this nigga mugshot. That nigga look deflated. He look caught. Look like a goddamn Scooby-Doo villain when they take the mask off in this motherfucker. Look at this shit.
To promote his career. I'm left hanging my head and asking why.
Yeah, why?
Why would anyone, especially an African-American man, use the symbolism of a noose to make false accusations?
Why? Why,
How
Jussie?
could someone look at the hatred
Why?
and suffering associated with that symbol and see an opportunity to manipulate that symbol to further his own public profile?
Jussie, you a piece of shit, just like
How
John
can an
Wayne.
individual who's been embraced by the city of Chicago turn around and slap everyone in this city in the face by making these false claims?
Exactly, man.
Bogus
That
police
nigga
reports.
ruined Black History Month. This nigga he single-handedly ruined Black History Month, man. Like, why, Jussie? Why? This is the biggest story in Black History Month. A nigga faking a hate crime.
Cause real harm. They do harm to every legitimate victim who's in need of support by police and investigators, as well as the citizens of this city. Chicago hosts one of the largest pride parades in the world, and we're proud of that as a police department and also as a city. We do not, nor will we ever tolerate hate in our city. whether that hate is based on an individual's sexual orientation, race, or anything else. So I'm offended by what's happened.
I'm offended
and I'm
too.
also angry.
Exactly.
I love the city of Chicago and
Fuck
the Chicago
Jussie.
Police Department, warts and all. But this publicity stunt was a scar that Chicago didn't earn and certainly didn't deserve. To make things worse,
Worse than all them killings, nigga.
accusations within this phony attack received national attention for weeks. Celebrities, news commentators, and even presidential candidates weighed in on something that was choreographed by an actor. First,
Damn shame.
Smollett attempted to gain attention by sending a false letter that relied on racial, homophobic, and political language. When that did
Man, we need to do more of these fake attacks so we can stop gun violence in inner cities, man. Get that attention.
didn't work, Smollett paid $3,500 to stage this attack and drag Chicago's reputation through the mud in the process.
He paid $3,000 for these two big-ass Nigerian dudes to fuck everything up. What, nigga? What? What? You paid $3,000 for these amateur-ass niggas to fuck up everything for you and possibly ruin your career, nigga. You paid $3,000 to end your own fucking career, nigga. What is wrong with you? And you could at least hire some white dudes. Sure, there was a white homeless dude on the street somewhere to do this crime for you. You hired two big ass, Incredible Hulk looking motherfuckers. Niggas that can crack your skull with their hands and shit, man. Come on.
And why?
You said you fought them niggas back. Stop lying, Jussie.
This stunt was orchestrated by Smollett because he was dissatisfied with his salary. So he concocted a story about being attacked.
Wait a minute. Hold up. I refuse to believe that shit. It don't make sense. It still don't make sense to me that he did all this shit for more money. For more money on Empire. It don't make no fucking sense. Like, nigga, just ask for more money. You like one of the top stars on the damn show. All you had to do was ask. Did he ask? Like, I need some backstory on this shit. Did he even ask them niggas for a pay raise? And how is this attack supposed to up his pay? Like how? I don't see how to put the two and two together, man. I don't understand how this would have made them give him more money. Were they gonna feel sorry for him because he was beat up and called racial slurs? Like, was he trying to play the pity card? Like, come on.
Now, our city has problems. We know that. We have problems that have affected people from all walks of life, and we know that. But to put the national spotlight on Chicago for something that is both egregious and untrue is simply shameful. I'm also concerned about what this means moving forward for hate crimes. Now, of course, the Chicago Police Department will continue to investigate all reports of these types of incidents with the same amount of vigor that we did with this one. But my concern is that hate crimes will now publicly be met with a level of skepticism that previously didn't have.
Like, nigga. Oh, come on. That's
That said,
like, I hate you, nigga. Like, I was thinking this was some big ass elaborate scheme from like some politician that paid you to do this shit, but it was all because you were a disgruntled employee, nigga. You just wanted more money on that terrible ass Empire show. Nigga, this is shameful. This is shameful. Shameful that you would stage an attack just to get more money. Shameful that you would pay $3,000 to have Nigerians fuck up all your plans and shit. Just fuck up all the schemes. This is terrible, man.
Smollett was treated as a victim throughout this investigation until we received evidence that led detectives in another direction. I couldn't be more proud of the unrelenting detective work that went into this investigation, and I couldn't be more proud of every investigator that played a part in it.
I need some of them niggas to actually solve them crimes in Chicago. Real
The detective
crimes,
work
nigga.
that we saw in this case is indicative of the work that our detectives do every day in this city.
Nigga, you lying.
This case in particular involved hours of video evidence, which when combined with old-fashioned police work, uncovered the truth. These detectives deserve all the credit in the world for carefully analyzing the leads and the evidence for weeks before coming to their conclusion. I'd also like to thank the FBI for their help in this investigation. The FBI's partnership with CPD has been pivotal in this particular case. I only hope that the truth about what happened receives the same amount of attention that the hoax did. I'll continue to pray for this troubled young man who resorted to both drastic and illegal tactics to gain attention. I'll also continue to pray for our city, asking that we can move forward from this and begin to heal. And now I'd like to call up Commander Edward Watnicki, who personally led this patient and deliberate investigation.
Here's where we are. So,
This nigga laughing.
I'm here to answer questions. Okay, the boss just corrected me. Please forgive me. I'm supposed to go through the timeline of our investigation. It's okay.
Okay, that's why. Okay.
So here's where we are. As you all know,
Shit.
on the early morning of February 29th at 2 o'clock in the morning, Jussie Smollett reported that he was the victim of a hate crime. Detectives responded to the incident and interviewed
January
him
29th,
eventually
or
at
December
Northwestern
29th.
Hospital, where he reported to us that
Yeah, even January, not February.
the two offenders yelled racial and homophobic and political statements at him and beat him, put a noose around his neck, and threw bleach on him, and then fled from the area. We learned at the time that Jussie was not hurt, other than scratches on his face, maybe some bruising, but no broken ribs or serious injuries. So we started a full-scale investigation into this hate crime, a very serious crime anywhere. We quickly found two persons of interest on video that we believed were the likely offenders in this case. We initially put out a seeking to identify, and we got this out in a community alert. We then started searching the area for video cameras and witnesses that could help us with our investigation. During that time frame, we interviewed over 100 individuals in a canvass of the area and a follow-up canvass as our investigation expanded.
Now, you can't tell me that they would have did the same shit if it was some kid that was shot in the streets. Like, come on.
We located approximately 35 of our Chicago Police pod cameras in the area and in the areas that we determined these two persons of interest fled. We additionally found over 20 private sector cameras, and I got to say that was super useful in this investigation. The city came together to investigate and help the police with this crime. It was because of these pod cameras, our investment inside, where they abruptly stopped the cab, got out, and walked on foot. Again, the community came together to provide us with, again, surveillance cameras that are located throughout the city, the pod cameras, to an area up on the north side where they abruptly stopped the cab, got out, and walked on foot. Again, the community came together to provide us with security footage from their private cameras.
Oh, shit.
So at that point, we then started tracking these two persons of interest backwards to where they came from. So we followed them walking around and eventually back to where they had gotten out of a cab. So that was another individual that we had to interview and another individual where we sought video. We continued to track that cab back to the point where the cab was tracked down by our two persons of interest in a rideshare car. We then followed up on the rideshare, and that was the lead that we needed in order to identify the two persons of interest. At that point, we had a real good timeline of where these two people went. We were able to put a name to both of these individuals, and it was at that time that we started looking at where they went right after this event. We tracked them to going to O'Hare Airport and jumping on a flight to Nigeria. Our investigation led us to determine that they had purchased a round-trip ticket with them returning to Chicago on the 13th, so approximately 2 weeks after the incident.
Oh my God.
So that gave us a couple of weeks to try to continue to follow up on any investigative lead that would help us try to determine what happened in this incident. So while we identify these two individuals, these two persons of interest, when they entered back into the country at customs, we took them into custody. We read them their rights, and they both initially asked for an attorney. They were brought to Area Central Detective Headquarters so that we could process them, and it was at that time that their attorney showed up. I think you've all seen her on the news the last couple of days. She came to us, and after speaking with these two people of interest, she said that something smelled fishy. She did not think that they were the offenders as were reported. She worked with us very, very closely to get to the point where she came to me and said, you really need to talk to these guys. I'm going to allow them to give you a video interview with us present, and we're going to have you hear their story. They are not offenders, they're victims. It was at that time that this investigation started to spin in a completely new direction.
Oh, shit. I would like
You've
that
heard
video.
some of the statements that their lawyer, Ms. Schmidt, has made, and it was at that time that we took the information that these two individuals provided to us, and we substantiated the timeline and the details that they gave to us in this interview. We were able to substantiate those things. We worked very, very closely with the states longer as suspects or persons of interest, and as we said that they had evidence to postpone the grand jury that they wanted to provide to us. It was at that time that they called us, and I met with them, with a team of our detectives, and essentially they gave us no new information. So I reported that back to the state's attorney's office, and it was at that time that we locked in both of these witnesses to the grand jury. I'm told they did an excellent job, and then the state's attorney's office approved charges against Jussie for the Class 4 disorderly conduct false police report. We met with Jussie's attorneys, and we arranged for him to turn himself in, and as you all know, he turned himself in at 5 o'clock this morning in the 1st District in Chicago. Today at 1:30, Jussie will be going in front of a bond court judge, and the bond court hearing will be conducted at 26th in California.
What happened with Jussie Smollett there in Chicago, who's now under arrest for filing a false police report saying that he took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career. Essentially, according to the evidence developed by the police, they're saying that Jussie Smollett created this whole hoax in order to get a raise on the show.
I can't believe that, man. All this shit for a raise? That don't make sense. That is the dumbest fucking reason ever. Dumbest fucking reason. You put your career on the line for a pay raise, nigga? You were already getting paid enough. A damn sure way more than normal people, regular people were making. And you did all of this shit for a pay raise, nigga? On Empire, nigga? A pay raise on that show? Like, I find that extremely hard to believe. If he did do all that for a pay raise, that's got to be the dumbest fucking reason to stage an attack like this. Anyway, I'm your boy Bushido Spirit. What are your thoughts on this video? Do you hate Jussie Smollett? Do you really believe he did this for a pay raise? Do you think there's somebody else tied to this? What is in your head? Put it in the comment section below. Peace out.